Very good at hockey.
The best, probably.
We will be seeing each other a lot.
Yeah, Boston and Montreal play against each other often.
How are you both?
Hey,
Good,
Carly.
Carly. How are you?
Great. I mean, super excited to talk the show. I just finished rewatching episode 4, and I know we don't have a ton of time, but I feel like this is such a pivotal episode, I think, and for the show in so many ways. So I am really appreciative of the chance to kind of get to dive in. And I feel like a good place to start is this episode in particular has a moment that I think a lot of fans have been looking forward to. Like I'm seeing so many tuna melt comments in the lead up to this episode. But I think it really is a good instance of how we see Shane and Ilya's dynamic really switching into like almost a sweet domesticity. And I'm curious for the both of you, was there ever a sense of added pressure when approaching the scenes that are coming straight from the book, like a sense of really wanting to make sure that you got it right?
I feel like I never really considered that too much. I think I just had a really strong vision of what I saw, and I really trusted Jacob. So I was like, we're gonna bring this to life. To be completely honest, too, I was from the jump ready to accept that my performance, no matter what it looked like, would could be potentially disappointing to people who love the book, just because that's the nature of it. I mean, like anytime a book is adapted, there's gonna be some, that's not what it should be online or whatever. So going into it, I already accepted that, and I think that freed me up to just be like, this is what I think it is, be open and present, know this character, and just go regardless of what element of the story it is.
hmm Yeah, I think Shane is feeling that fear of, domesticity. Like Jacob reiterated it. And I remember him very pointingly saying on set, like, this tuna melt scares you. When he says, "Do you want tuna melt?" That sort of that has to freeze you because up to that point, it's like Shane, whether consciously or not, has sort of made bigger gestures of love or more confident gestures of, romantics that I think, you see Ilya freeze up to this point. And then the fact that it looks like this, it looks like home life, it looks like, a partner. It's a big space, it's open, it's daylight opposed to like this dark, shadowy hotel room. I think that open space scares him. Like for Shane, that's like the fucking ocean, and he's kind of drowning in it. And I think Ilya's comfort with him terrifies him, that it looks like everything he wants is almost harder to accept than if it is this like shadowy, forbidden thing.
Yeah. I mean, to sort of continue along that same point, obviously the steamy scenes in the show have been a big point of discussion, but I really feel like you can track the evolution of their relationship, their dynamic through those moments. And in this episode, we sort of get the time jumps to indicate that these two have really been off and on during the hockey season. They kind of come together, and then in the off season, they're apart. But you see the moments when they start, they're looking at their phones a little more often. They're kind of, there's that yearning, I think, for like a longer connection. And there's more vulnerability, I think, in this episode than ever before. I mean, this is the moment when they say each other's first names for the first time, and then we get Shane pulling away immediately in the aftermath. And Hudson, for you, I was curious about what you really wanted to convey about what we've sort of touched on it already, but and in the build up to this moment, when
Mm.
Shane pulls away from Ilya,
hmm
what did you want to convey about like what's going through his head at that moment?
Yeah, there's so much, I spoke of like the kind of acceptance, almost like the open arms of Ilya, or at least appearing so, but also before that, there's the reminder that Ilya isn't his. He talks about women and Svetlana in a very sort of like unabashed way that also terrifies Shane. It doesn't make him feel, like he can enter into this. There are conventions around him, that he doesn't feel inside. There's that conversation about, do you like women? And Shane lies through his teeth, and he doesn't feel fully safe with Ilya in that conversation. But then there's also tuna melt, and there's the first name. So I think there's a lot of things that he can't reconcile in that moment. In episode 1 and 2, he's tried conversation, and that really hasn't proven to work. Um, so I think he just too many things short circuit in his little brain that I think he runs.
Yeah. I mean, I think Connor Ilya is also dealing with when and when not to express deeper feeling, and like the call from his dad in that scene,
Hmm.
it's telling that when he comes back into the room and Shane asks about it, Ilya kind of downplays the moment and reaches for like a connection instead of talking about, his feelings. Like, how did you kind of want to play his avoidance of the topic, when Shane tries to bring up his dad?
It's so interesting because I didn't even think of it as avoidance until you said that. To me, what that moment looked like was um, actually really feeling seen. And yeah, I guess I didn't see it as avoidance until you worded it that way. To me, it felt like, whoa, this person is connected to me, knows just enough about my life, and is literally in close enough proximity to take in my energy and be concerned about me. And then I guess you're right, it is avoidance, but from that place, like kind of looking at it as Ilya or whatever, um, that felt like the next logical step, which was to almost like a thank you or something. It's like if you like someone or you love someone and having a beautiful moment, it's kind of like a beautiful period to that moment is you love me, you see me, thank you, let me embrace you. But I guess you're right. Damn, I you should have been on there with me. That would have I would have spiced it up a little bit with that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I sometimes I think, there's a lot that can come through subconsciously without maybe even realizing it. I did want to ask too about the club scene that sort of closes out this week, before we run out of time. It's this very, I mean, obviously the song took me back to a very specific time period, but also it's this moment of the two of them sort of frozen in that space, and the rest of the world is moving and dancing around them, and it's just the two of them locked in this stare. So I wanted to ask the two of you about the experience of filming that, when you're surrounded by strobing lights and so many extras, and really kind of locking in with each other.
Mm.
Those sorts of days and scenes are actually really technical, considering the lights, considering the amount of extras, considering the drinks and the this and the that. It's so technical, and you're kind of in that space all day long,
Mm.
that it comes down to the emotions are kind of found, I think, in the moment, and it's really about understanding, just listening and trusting Jacob and being like, no, I need a little bit more of a depth to this, or no, I need a little bit more confusion, or this, that, because a lot of that's in slow motion too. So
Yeah.
a lot of it comes down to the technique of being in the space and then just trusting and listening to Jacob. But also at that point, we had been with these characters for like over a month, so
Hmm.
by that point we really know
You know how
who,
they
what, when, where,
move. You
why.
know how
Totally,
they
it's
yeah.
pretty easy to
You
lock
would
in at that
navigate
point.
that.
It's a great moment. I mean, look, I'm sure people are going to be a little bit devastated by the split this week, but also, as any good romance fan knows, it's just means that the road to a happily ever after is going to take a little bit longer.
Has to happen, baby.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all out of time, but thank you both so much for speaking with me about the show. I mean, it's been such a huge success and obviously so well deserved, and the two of you are so fabulous in it. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. We
much.
appreciate you.
You're great.